Hello, and welcome to Melomaniax, the podcast where we take unbiased deep dives into the biggest musicians and bands of all time. I'm Ashton.
And I'm Dallas. Today we're talking about your 2024 Super Bowl halftime show headliner, Usher. But before we get into that, please don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Keep the conversation going. And most importantly, hit us with those 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. That's going to help us grow a little bit quicker than other platforms, although we appreciate any 5-star review or any star review you have to offer. We also now have a Patreon. It's officially live. We offer a $5 per month tier, and that's going to give you access to our private Discord, as well as a shout out on one of our episodes and the ability to vote on future episode topics.
So today, we're diving headfirst into the electrifying world of R&B and pop sensation Usher. Usher, which is actually kind of how he says it.
Yep.
Every time he walks up to an interview, he goes, Usher.
Yep.
I don't see the R.
I do that too with people. I'm not famous and rich. I just walk up, I go, Dallas. And they're like, what? You have Tourette's?
Anyways, from smooth vocals to slick dance moves, emphasis on the dance moves.
Oh, yeah.
Usher has dominated the music scene for decades, leaving his mark on the industry with hits like, yeah, with an exclamation point.
Love it.
Yeah.
Bow, wow.
Yeah.
Bow, wow.
And then Confessions Part 2, of course, and You Remind Me. He has so many hits, but Usher has consistently delivered chart-topping hits and has captivated audiences worldwide. Join us as we unravel the story behind the man who brought the irresistible grooves and unforgettable melodies. So let's dive and explore the unparalleled career of the one and only
Usher. Hell yeah.
But let's actually open up with quick comments on the Super Bowl. We have two completely different views for you, but we're going to discuss it out and maybe meet in the middle.
I doubt it.
Should I open up with my positivity?
No, I was going to say, though, the Super Bowl just happened. It happened this week as we're recording it.
Let's talk about the positives. And then
sure.
we can dive into the... Because I also have quite a few remarks and complaints and comments, but...
Okay, cool. Have you ever seen a Super Bowl halftime show where they started on the field? I don't think I've ever...
That was something that was immediately brought up, that there was not directly a stage, that he was on the actual field for a second. And I wonder if anybody's... I don't think they'd have anything to say. It's an indoor stadium, so I don't think they could actually permanently affect the turf.
Oh no, I didn't think about it in that way. I was just like,
in general,
I don't think I'd ever seen one that had started on the field, and I thought it was actually just going to fully be on the field, and then I realized he was slowly walking towards
to the stage.
The stage they had, which was pretty tiny,
yeah,
compared to some of the stages we've seen at the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yep, definitely left a lot of the room for the fields. But I was thinking the same thing. I was like, and the whole time I was waiting for him to trip. As sad as that sounds, like, I know he's a really good fluent dancer. I was just like, on the field, like, some of those spots can be a little slick where the paint is and stuff. So that's why I was like, oh my God, if he catches the wrong spot with his shoes, like, I could just see him slipping.
Yeah, I was amazed. And they had people come out in rollerblades and all sorts of stuff, roller skates, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just watching that, amazed that, like, nobody fell or nobody messed up that I could tell. It was all really, really clean and well done.
So So another podcast that I listen to, that's a Vikings podcast, They do predictions every week. One of them predicted that Alicia Keys would be brought on stage, and that was one. And the other person
what's the reasoning behind these predictions, though?
So they typically do football predictions. It's called Write That Down. And every week they make 3 predictions, write them down, and they keep percentage of how many they get right and wrong.
Oh, nice.
And they have a percentage. And so the whole idea of the show is big heads on sports make all kinds of predictions, but never keep stats by when they're wrong.
Like when they're wrong. Yeah.
And
so
they do
they only remember when they're right.
They do the same thing, and they track every statistic for everything. Yeah. So basically you can see what how many times they've gotten it right, like their completion percentage, how many big ones, and so on and so forth. But anyways, they made the prediction that the one made the prediction that Alicia Keys would be on there. The other made a prediction that Usher would have roller skating in his show. Because he went and saw him in Vegas last year. So Usher has been performing kind of like Elvis has in Vegas since 2020. Right. He doesn't do any touring anymore, really. You just go to see him.
Stuff,
yeah. And so basically that's what I was going to say about his halftime show. 80% was probably just his Las Vegas show brought to the stage.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
So there probably wasn't as much preparation, because you said it looked kind of rushed. I could see them being kind of rushed because I could see them just going to Usher's group like, well, you already have your stage guys. You're like, just do your
the choreo's already done. Yeah,
do the thing you do in Vegas. Just shorten it up for the Super Bowl. And so I assume that's what happened. But there were more guest stars than I wanted. I knew Ludacris and Lil Jon were going to be there for
Lil Jon was credited as a producer for the whole show. He was the one that produced and arranged the whole show, at least according to a graphic I saw.
I gotcha. We had to know those two were going to be there.
So I figured he was going to be
there. Those two basically show up to everything Usher does because of the song Yeah. And that's how it's been over the years. Like, whenever there's an Usher concert or tour, those two are the notoriously the most famous to show up at his concerts to do live stuff. I was happy about the Alicia Keys. will.i.am also showed up. I wasn't expecting that one. I knew they have a really big song, OMG, together. And so I wasn't sure. And when we did our episode, it was the Black Eyed Peas that pulled Usher on stage to do that song, OMG, last time. That's when Usher made his first Super Bowl appearance, as he came up on stage and did OMG with will.i.am.
Yeah.
So will.i.am coming back on stage for that was kind of cool. But it did get very busy at times. Kind of reminds me of my dad's story of going to see David Bowie, where he kind of saw David Bowie himself on stage for a total of 5 minutes during the entire set because there was so much commotion, so many people, so much art going on all over the stage. It's kind of how I got from that, as far as like all the people on the... Like, the marching band is cool. Necessity. Understand that.
That was cool. I wonder, those marching band people have to not be playing, right? There's no way. Because that has to be all, like, piped in through tracks to stay on beat with a click and stuff. Because there's no way every single one of those people has an in-ear monitor with a click that they can stay on. So they probably are just walking around, like, miming
pretending to do their...
Yeah, and it's just... Because also, those instruments are extraordinarily loud. So if they're not just blowing, and the drummer's back there like, dude, what? So I'd have to believe, maybe I'm wrong, that they were just kind of there miming to be there, but the actual sound's coming through the tracks, I would guess.
Yeah, but I think he played the melody that they chose basically played all of his biggest hits. I don't think there were any songs left out. I think they hit all of them enough, and he didn't do any of his new album, and I thought he was going to do one or two from his new album that just came out Friday. I thought the whole point of, was to kind of incorporate some promotion of his new album. But I guess just him getting searches. Getting the searches will be enough to get some traction for that album. But overall, I'd rate that one like a B minus Super Bowl show. It's not the worst I've seen at all, but I mean,
what is
the
worst you've seen, you think?
I'm trying to think. So we did that episode, and I remember we both couldn't remember Maroon 5. Nicole reminded me that it was a horrendous performance.
Really?
That Adam Levine's vocals were horrible, and it's like went down as a very underwhelming performance.
I've heard that about them and him specifically a lot. Really? Not just that. So like there might be something to that, I mean, he's clearly like one of those singers that's
he's
super
talked about it that he doesn't like his voice.
Yeah.
He's openly said I know. I'm just saying he's openly said
he's got some good stuff.
I've got one of those like high pitched voices. I don't have any rasp, any like
nobody likes their own voice though.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Like I guess maybe unless you're Chris Cornell, he probably didn't even like his own voice.
Even though everybody's like, what? But anyways, what was your negatives?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like it. I don't know. As I was watching it, I was kind of like, this is really slow to develop. Like he took forever to get on that stage.
I will agree with that.
And I thought when he came in singing, like I was kind of underwhelmed by that too. I thought his voice was way too quiet for starters.
Yeah, the sound was bad.
And when I heard, I was like, he doesn't sound like he's singing too good. Like
they made a quick adjustment to the volume, right away. He like opens up with his first couple of
lines
notes,
was like,
and then it was like, and then there was like turn up.
Yeah.
And and I'm sure that caused some shakiness in his voice at first. Like, oh my god, I'm so quiet.
Well, he's got it in his ears. He's hearing something totally different than we're hearing.
Okay.
Yeah. So he had no idea, I'm sure, that he was too quiet or not. But I mean, he did some cool dancing. Alicia Keys absolutely crushed it. Assuming everything she did was live. And even if not, she's amazing. She did awesome. And then it was just kind of like, I don't know, it was just kind of like, all right.
She's a phenomenal piano player.
Yeah.
I think she's literally a concert level pianist.
Yeah, she's awesome.
But overall, yeah, not the... I would definitely... I had high hopes because of the tributes and other live shows I've seen Usher perform. And I'd agree. Like I said, the sound overall wasn't the best, and that's not all his fault.
It almost felt like phoned in to me somehow. You know? It was kind of like they didn't really... It didn't seem... I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was just kind of underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, we'd love to hear from you guys about it, but we're going to jump into all
Usher.
of Usher.
Yep.
Since we're just talking about the most recent stuff, but yeah, we'll dive in. Usher Raymond the Fourth.
Yep.
Actually named Usher. Real name,
That's
not a stage name, guys.
Didn't know that.
Born October 14th, 1978 in Dallas, Texas.
Love it.
But spent his early childhood growing up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is where his mom's from, or Tennessee. And Usher's father left when he was about a year old, so he grew up with his mom, stepdad, and half brother. And Usher got his first gig at age 9 in the old church choir. His mom was the director, so she got him in there. And kind of like the Taylor Swift story that we were talking about, his mom had like that early recognition that Usher was kind of special, that he had some talent, some potential. So she moved the family to Atlanta to give him a better atmosphere to grow his talents, explore that. And so that was like the same thing. Taylor Swift moved to Nashville because of her country roots. Well, you moved to
like Pennsylvania or New York or something?
Pennsylvania. Yeah. And then you moved to, and this is what we were talking about. So like LA is where you would go for classic rock or like any rock scene like that.
Or acting.
Movies. You go to Tennessee for the country music. You go to Atlanta for anything hip hop, R&B. That's the city for that. So moving to Atlanta was a good idea for them. And gosh, it's just awesome to hear these parents just like uproot their whole family for like potential dreams of their child.
Yeah.
It's kind of
crazy.
Cool. Yeah. But after they moved at age 10, he joined a singing group called New Beginnings, and the group released one album while he was part of them. But Usher's mom pulled him after the album and said that it was a bad experience. And I think they removed a couple of things that Usher did. And
did they say why?
Nope. There were no specifics. And I remember Usher talking about this being great training for him. So he said it was almost like boot camp being in this singing group, that it wasn't just like, you know, a couple kids, let's go sing some shows. Like they were literally having them like hours a day, like doing their dancing, singing while dancing, learning how to do all of that on the move. So at an early age, he really did the dancing while singing thing, and talks about how hard it is, like physically to like, he's like, yeah, being able to dance, being able to sing, two hard things individually, doing them together is a whole nother beast. And Michael Jackson gives him a lot of credit later on for being good at it.
That's awesome.
but he said
higher praise there.
Oh, right. That's how he said. It's like, oh my goodness,
the king of pop.
King of pop.
PAWP. Pop.
King of pop. Talking to the king of R&B.
Yeah.
But anyways, few years later, after the New Beginnings ordeal, he was 13 years old, and he met Bobby Brown's bodyguard at the time, AJ Alexander. And Alexander used to take Usher around to talent shows and parking lots and stuff around Atlanta and have him perform. And he arranged for Bryant Reed, an A&R representative from LaFace Records, to come and see Usher perform on this television talent show, Star Search.
Yep. That's a big show.
I actually watched his audition. Dude had some chops as a kid.
Usher? Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
There's lots of kids like that.
Dude, pitch perfect, just like running it. So
and
like,
it's funny you mentioned here, he's doing talent shows in parking lots to perform. I don't know how much you know the Justin Bieber story. Justin Bieber was so far to this story very similar. His mom recognized talent. He's from Canada. She brings him down to Atlanta just to visit, to go look around. In a parking lot, he sees Usher walking in from a car to a building. He basically runs up to Usher and like almost assaults him and is like, "You gotta listen to me sing." And he was like, "Dude, no." So Bieber just starts singing, and Usher stops and turns around and goes, "What? Wait, what?"
yeah.
And that's kind of how Usher actually was the one kind of responsible for breaking Justin Bieber, which is kind of funny. But it's funny you bring up parking lots. That happened that way, and it's kind of like, what are the odds that you're at that parking lot 15 minutes later and Usher's already inside? You know, like, right? You never know. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Star Search. So you watched the performance and he was awesome?
Oh yeah, he was killer.
Yeah.
And which sucks because I was just talking to you about his first album, which we'll get into, but this was his Star Search was before any puberty. So this was the high pitched, the Michael Jackson from the Jackson 5
like Bieber as a kid,
voice. Yes,
Michael Jackson, yeah, exactly like you said.
So before that transition, because his voice definitely changes a ton.
They have those like angelic voices.
Yes, exactly, like, wow. Dude. It's like that angelic, high pitch, but total control. Yeah, total control.
That's crazy to have that as a kid.
When you hear that, you're just like,
I teach a lot of kids. I teach a lot of kids in that age range, and you don't realize how rare something like that is. Like anytime any person I teach, any young kid I teach has any degree of talent, it turns my head like, whoa, hold on, that stands out. Like,
yeah,
because you teach so many, and most people are not like that. That's just how it is. They might be talented in other ways, but
I was gonna say,
never know.
It's funny how you always viewed that word talent as like, don't call me talented. I worked really hard for this.
That would be a good episode topic.
But, yeah,
to be honest.
we can dive into that a little more. But I do think I do think, and we will actually think that's a great topic. And I don't want to dive into it too much right now. But I will say, when it comes to singing, I do think there's a certain level of talent you need to be successful.
Definitely more so than the other
instruments.
Yeah. Yeah, but we could dive into that more.
But we'll save that.
Later,
but I do think that singing is kind of like the exception to that. Mm-hmm. But we'll get back into it. We will say Usher does qualify as a talented individual.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to parking lots and stuff. Mr. Alexander arranged for an audition after he got Bryant Reed to come watch Usher. He then set it up for L.A. Reid, the actual co-founder of LaFace Records, to come watch him audition. Yep. And Reid signed Usher on the spot after he did a
End of the Road
by Boyz II Men.
Very nice.
Apparently he killed it, and dude just pushed the contract in front of him.
He already had it ready and everything. That's
he was just like, yeah.
So Usher's mom then quit her job around this time to manage Usher's career full time. That's pretty cool. And that can go one of two ways. You either have the good Hollywood parent or the bad Hollywood parent. So he was brought onto the scene with his song Call Me a Mac on the soundtrack for the movie Poetic Justice. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Dude, that song's awesome.
Really?
Yep. I actually like that song more than any song off his opening album. And this came out before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is almost like a little single.
That's it. Yeah. And I think the reason I like it, once again, and we're about to get into it, but literally, I guess I could just go ahead and talk about it right now.
Yeah.
But Usher's first album comes out when he's 15 years old. And he actually lost his voice upon preparation for the album because he's literally in the heat of puberty. Mm-hmm. So like he's right in the middle of a voice change. And this is why I think that other song sounds better. I think it's right before it happened. Right. So it's still the young vocals, still clean, still good. And then it hits. And so Reid almost drops Usher from the label because he's unable to, he's come up and sing for the album. So, but after some hardcore pleading, Usher is able to stay on the label, and the record label doesn't really know what to do with him. So they want to delay the album till he can get his voice a little more set. So they send him up to New York to live with Puff Daddy.
Good influence.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, what else? But anyways, to attend something Reid called Flavor Camp.
That sounds badass. I want to go.
Right? I want to get some flavor.
Give me some flavor on these vocals.
Some flavor. But anyways, he was 15.
It's just Puff being like, "Mo flavor," and that's it. Like he never says anything else.
That's in the recording studio. Just comes in on the mic. Mo flavor.
Flavor Camp. They find out is just like his restaurant. It's like, this isn't helpful.
But anyways, he up and moved to New York without his family at 15, 16. So he actually says this is one of the hardest times of his life, just kind of getting uprooted from living in Atlanta, deep south, to New York City, not knowing anybody, anything, and then going to with Puff Daddy. So like you're constantly going to like
the top. Yeah.
And you're a kid too. So you're having to keep this grown adult who loves to party and drink like in order.
Yeah, that's crazy.
As a kid too. So like this whole experience was really difficult for him, but it also, he credits, like being able to overcome this was really big. So being able to work hard, learned a lot of things from Puff. Yep. And in fact, Puff goes on to be help produce some of his albums going forward.
Yeah, very cool.
That's where he gets the new name, where he goes from Puff Daddy to P Diddy.
Yep.
Is he goes under his producer. Right. Yeah. Cause he's Puff Daddy. And then, his very first producing gig, I think he tried out the P Diddy with some extra parts.
Yeah.
I think it was something P Diddy Combs.
Right.
Which now I want to talk to him and be like,
Sean Combs, right?
Sean Combs. It's Sean P. Diddy Combs. I literally want to be like, dude, my last name is like, could be your next stage name. MC Combs.
That's badass.
Dude.
Usher, during his time at Flavor Camp, by the way, he's moving from the South, kind of humble beginnings. And not only going to New York, which is the big city, because most people move to New York, they're starting at the bottom. You're staying in the rat-infested, closet apartment that's $8,000 a month. Not Usher. He's moving straight to the top.
Yep.
So he gets kind of acquainted with a lavish lifestyle while spending time with Puff.
Yep. And so August 30th, we've been talking about it. 1994, Usher's self-titled debut album dropped.
Wow. Debuted at 167 on the Billboard 200. That is insane. Yep. But you're working with some big names. They're helping you push. The marketing budget's there.
Yeah.
You're the hot new thing. I get it.
For sure. No, it was. And
but what a start.
Yeah. So the album came with 3 singles to promote it. The first was Can You Get With It, which peaked at number 59 on the Billboard Hot 100. And the second single was Think of You, which was right above it at 58. So
nice. Dominating the lower 50s.
Killing the 50s. And the third and final single was The Many Ways, which just hit outside the Hot 100 in that bubbling.
How funny would it be to be like 101? You're like, God.
Who was that 100th song?
Yeah. You just go beat them up.
Yeah.
We got beat up. Can I be one now? It's like very clearly you did it.
Yeah.
So overall, this album received mixed reviews, mainly because people took issue with a 15-year-old singing about, sex and stuff, which I get.
Yeah, that's like the R&B subject. But they were like in this limbo, like, what else is he going to sing about? So they didn't want him to sing about stuff too kiddie, because then you don't grab any adult audiences at all.
And to be fair, most people listening to it are not going to know the age of the person singing it. You might think, oh, he's young.
So what they decided to do is to just bump him up to that next bracket and have him kind of sing about more adult things, even though he was a little younger. Right. They just thought that was the right direction to move him towards.
Right.
So yeah, there was a little flack on this first album, but he's 20, 21 when his next one comes out. So it's like all of a sudden, okay.
Sure, yeah.
But the first one caught a little flack for it.
And it might be smart, because it's only going to catch flack in the time.
Yes.
Because right now you go back and listen, you don't think about it at all. You're like, oh yeah,
not at all.
I mean, actually, that was my first thought when I played it a second ago. I was like, that's a little weird, but to learn that he's 15. But, I get it. So that album, his debut, has sold about 500,000 copies to date, which is certified gold. So that's pretty good.
Yep, certified gold, not platinum. Sorry, bud.
Platinum's $1 million, right?
Yep.
And diamond's 10 million?
Yep. So,
but you can be multiple times platinum. Like, oh, this album is 4 times.
Every time you go past $1 million, it's like, so 3 million, 3.5 million is 3 times platinum certified.
You're like 1,000 short. You just go out and buy 1,000 copies of your own album. Like, platinum, baby. Did it. So this was your least favorite Usher album.
This was my least favorite. His voice was not done developing. It hadn't really finished getting to that point that you hear, especially in the next album. There's
and also, to be fair, still a phenomenal singer.
Oh yeah, no, he still killed it. You can just really tell that he's in a transition period when you hear his voice before and after this album.
Right,
you're just kind of like, oh,
you then
poor
retroactively go back and you're like, okay, that was a tough.
Yeah, you're like, oh, poor kid. Like that was just
I have
bad
often
timing.
heard developing a voice through puberty is tough. I was never a good singer ever in my life. I developed my voice much later, so that was never an issue for me. But I have heard that for people like Justin Bieber, Michael Jackson, all these child stars.
Yeah. I could sing a little bit before puberty, and then puberty hit and it took away. I had, or what I'd say is my high notes sounded much better when I was a kid. And then when I changed, I lost that ability to sing the high notes well.
Yeah. We could talk about this on the talent versus hard work episode, but I, like you, thought singing, I've now learned talent is just a part of it. I always thought like you could just sing or you couldn't. Like everything else you have to learn, but you could just sing or you couldn't. I have since found just through myself that that's not true, because I was a garbage singer and now I'm singing lead and people are saying it's good. So, and that's totally new to me. I'm like, whoa, so that's a wild, like, it's just wild to realize like, oh, you could just work at this and get better. Like, and everybody does. All these people we talk about.
And all these people, and don't take anything for granted. These people like Usher, Taylor, that have tremendous amounts of talent also pair it with the most hard work you've ever seen.
That's when you have the big stars.
And that's why they get as big as they are, because not only do they have a lot of natural born talent, but they pair it with great motivation and hard work and self-discipline, and that is really the key.
I think the thesis is if you have to pick one, you want the hard work, because there's always so many talented people that never do anything.
Oh yeah, you want
they're missing that work ethic, and there's so many people that do something with almost no talent, like me, that had to just work really hard just to catch up to the people that had all the talent. But if you have both, that's when you get real far.
That's where you get these people that are
and an early start,
one
which is tough.
One in a billion people, like Ushers and Taylors. So
yeah, for sure.
That's right. I'm telling all you masses out there, you cannot be special. It's too late for you.
We're motivating here at the Melomaniax podcast. We're motivational speakers. Give up.
Go have some kids. That's your only
hope they get good. We're
just kidding. Just kidding.
You can do it.
You can still work hard.
His voice wasn't done developing for this album, obviously, and he gave it a shot. It was fine. The label was on edge as they expected a little more success out of the album. I mean, come on, guys, it's gold. I guess that's to date, though, so it definitely wasn't gold right away.
Yeah, no.
So Usher's mom took his career by the reins and had him do a bunch more talent shows and things of that nature to build up a larger audience to be there for his kind of sophomore album.
I've seen this a couple times where record labels just kind of take their band or whatever on a little tour.
Like a mall
just
tour.
They did that with Blur, something like that, just to like build a little more like, audience. People know your band name a little more, so when they see your album pop up, but that kind of thing.
So around this time, he graduates high school and continues to work on his voice and stage performance. He's a really good dancer and is really good at dancing and singing at the same time. So that's one of those examples of something he's put a ton of work into.
Yep.
Has become really proud of, because you don't just you're not talented in that way. Like, you got to just
that's more conditioning of
grind.
That's a physical thing, because that's conditioning your body, your lungs.
Dude, I don't know if you've ever run on a treadmill and tried to talk.
Oh, I know, that's hard.
Same thing.
That's like the first step, and I definitely recommend that. It helps with your lungs and breathing.
You're not hitting those levels of heart rate, probably. Maybe doing the dancing. In my world, we don't have the choreographed dancing in the same way.
Yeah,
but we'll have moves and stuff. Not necessarily like, I do this in sync. It's not like that. It's more like I just move around a lot. You're not hitting that. Like, you're getting an elevated heart rate, but you're not at 180. You might be at 120,
But if you are able to there are some people who can train by they're running on the treadmill and singing.
Oh, yeah.
And that's their training.
I think it was Bruce Dickinson who used to rollerblade
and sing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because if you watch him live, he just sprints around the stage singing.
And then you hear these people and they're not out of breath and still singing.
Some of them still are. But
Some are.
Corey Taylor's so funny to listen to live. Everything's just relax a little bit.
Calm down, bud. Nah, Usher was sweating his ass off, but he seemed.
I noticed that too.
But he is. Yeah. I mean, he stays in shape as well.
Yeah, true. And you kind of have to.
Yeah, I mean, most of his music videos and part of his charm is taking the shirt off, showing the abs and stuff. So you kind of got to maintain that.
It's like in his 40s now, dude. Just keep the shirt on. I know he's got to be older than that.
45.
Okay.
Yep. So anyways, let's get back to Usher.
September 16th, 1997.
3 years later, releasing that second album.
Yep.
My Way. And the album entered the Billboard 200 at the 4th position.
Wow.
Big improvements. And the album had 3 singles to support it, which the first was You Make Me Wanna... ...
Die.
Which, no, it didn't say. Which hit number 1 in the UK, making it his first number 1. And then, but if we don't count number 1 in the UK,
and who does?
We typically don't.
Just kidding.
Then this single doesn't count. But the next one does, because Nice and Slow, his next single, would peak number 1 in the US.
His first number 1 hit.
Yep, first number 1.
That's
in
nuts.
The US. So 2 number 1s from his album, 1 in the UK, 1 in the US. And the third single was the title track, My Way. And it was able to reach number 2 on the charts. Jeez. So close. But the album has since been certified platinum 7 times.
Yep. Man, that's nuts.
This album really had his career take off. This was like that, where he became really big. And then following the album, he was able to book some dates on P. Diddy's tour with Mary J. Blige and even got to open for Janet Jackson. So that's
wild.
That doesn't hurt your career.
Yep.
It's probably pretty helpful. But anyways, 1998, just a year later, he made his acting debut on Moshe.
I didn't realize this was even an aspect of his career.
Me neither, until I saw how much work he's done. But Moshe, I don't know what the show is. I didn't look it up. I just assumed it was some kind of just basic TV show. Really. I'm not a big TV show. There's a couple. But anyways, he ended up maintaining a recurring role, actually, from it. And
nice.
This led to him landing his first movie, The Faculty, and his work in the film industry helped him gain steam to land 2 more films, She's All That and Light It Up.
I remember She's All That.
Yep, me too.
I think I remember that one. I know the name.
Is that one with Amanda?
I think you might be
right.
The
soccer thing where she tries to be a dude. Oh,
no, I thought it was that too, though. You were thinking of She's the Man.
She's the Man. That's the name of that one.
Yeah.
She's all that. Okay, I feel like I've seen... Oh, I know a lot of the actors from that. Okay.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
They all must have been so young in this.
Probably, yeah.
This must have been like really early on in their careers.
Yep, for sure.
I'm seeing all them. But anyways.
And then Light It Up, he was the lead in. And he also made an appearance in the Disney movie Geppetto.
Yep.
Which I assume is about Pinocchio's master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll get back to music.
Yep.
This is a music podcast and not a film podcast.
Yeah. Go listen to Filmomaniacs.
Are there? Yeah.
What would that show be called?
Just Filmaniacs.
Cinemaniacs, right?
Cinemaniac? Maybe.
That's
I'm not sure
cool.
what the word is, because Melomaniac, the word is like
What's
to obsess over a song.
Cinephile is the word.
Cinephiles.
Cinephile?
Cinephile?
With a Z.
That's right.
That'd be the podcast.
That's our other podcast in the future.
Where we talk about things we have no idea about.
Yeah.
This movie was great. Let's pull up the Rotten 3%. Okay. All right.
Okay.
We don't know what we're talking about.
Anyways, off the film. Usher's third album came out early 2001.
Yep.
And
he's kind of in his prime here, I think,
Yep, this is entering like the heyday of R&B.
He's still on the way up. Most careers are a bell curve. He's still on that up.
He's still on that up.
He's going to peak here in the next few albums.
And so it was supported by a single that dropped in the late 2000s called Pop Your Collar.
Yep.
Do it.
I'm good.
You don't even have a collar to
pop.
But thank you. Yeah. Anyways,
thank you for the offer, Mr. Raymond IV, but I'm okay.
The album was subsequently pulled and pushed back when some of the songs had been leaked before release.
What?
So they don't like that. And at the same time, LaFace Records went quiet, and all their clients ended up going to their parent company, Arista Records. And finally, after a couple retools, some song changes, August 7th, 2001, 8701 was released. And the title of that album is actually just the date it came out.
Hell yeah.
8701.
That's badass.
I had no clue.
That'd be cool to just name every album like that.
Dude, that's what I was like when I heard, like, because 8701
is one of album 4, because it's the fourth one.
It's one of his iconic albums, and I was like, 8701.
What does it mean? You're like hitting the message boards.
And then it just comes up as the date it came out, which is funny because it's not even the original date the album was supposed to come out.
But day before your birthday.
Day before my birthday, that's right.
Nice.
2001. Damn.
2001, you would have been like 8, 9? Is that right? 7?
Oh, I'd be turning 8.
You'd be turning 8 the day after this one. Wow.
Yeah.
You were the target audience.
Damn, I was. And that's why I guess this is actually 8701's where I know my first Usher songs. Like nostalgia kicks in when I was about that, age. So the album hit Billboard 200 at 4th spot.
Wow.
Again, dude, back-to-back 4s. And which is crazy because I thought this one would have been the number one.
For sure. And the first 2 singles from the album both hit the number 1 spot.
Yep.
So the guy's up to 3 number 1 hits, if I'm doing my math right. We're not counting the UK.
Yeah,
right?
Correct. We won't count the. I believe it's number 3. Yep. Or
3.5.
You Got It Bad was the first song that I remember. That's
and You Remind Me was the other one, right?
Yeah, I do remember You Remind Me, but You Got It Bad, I do believe is like the very first Usher song I ever heard in my life.
Also, we have to say, all of these are the letter U, which he has to be getting inspiration from Prince on
Prince
that, right?
Does that a lot. Yeah.
Prince is the one I've noticed that does that
weird letter
more than anyone else.
Yeah.
And all of these songs that Usher's had, even in the first album and stuff, they're all
he does
the letter U, Got It Bad
stuff.
Yeah. Yep. So that's got to be I would assume, kind of a homage to Prince.
And then the third single, You Don't Have to Call.
Another U.
Which I can't believe didn't hit number 1. It actually only hit number 3 on the Billboard 100. That was another song I remember as a kid.
And written by Pharrell Williams.
Yep. Who does a couple of their songs.
Yeah.
Pharrell has been writing music and behind the music scene for a long time.
Yeah, you don't think he's been around that long.
Dude,
you think about Happy and Despicable Me as kind of like Pharrell's a guy now, but he's been around longer.
No, Pharrell's just that guy that you kind of just want in the studio when you're doing anything. It seems like he's got a lot of good ideas, a good voice.
You need that hat in there to kind of take up some space.
I was going to say he looks great on music videos.
Yeah,
just toss him in there.
Yeah,
true. It looks good.
So 8701 at this point has been certified 5 times platinum.
Yep.
In 2002, Usher won a Grammy for Best Male R&B Vocal Performance for You Remind Me. And the following year, he won the same award for the song You Don't Have to Call. That's wild. 2 different Grammys, 2 different years for the same album. That's pretty crazy.
Yep.
So where do you have this album ranked?
So I'd probably have it ranked. So personally, I'm actually going to rank it like 3 or 4. And I think Usher, when I was watching the interview between Shannon Sharpe and Usher, Shannon asked him if you could only play one of your albums for the rest of your days, what would it be? And
to listen to your own album?
To play. Like
perform.
Perform at all of his shows going forward. And Usher,
man, that's a good podcast.
He brought it down to 8701 and Confessions, and then he ended up just going with Confessions because it's just, you know.
Well, yeah, you're gonna perform those songs and get a big reaction, I think.
Yeah. But 8701 has big songs on it, and he really liked. You could tell he has some attachment to 8701. You could tell he really enjoys that album, and I think a lot of fans do. I think that's the number 2 album for a lot of. I think a lot of people put Confessions and 8701. I like that other album I was showing you about, Looking for Myself.
Right. Yeah.
That one's
good. To that one in a minute. For sure.
That one's good.
They continue to make TV appearances. Things like Texas Rangers, The Twilight Zone, Seventh Heaven, Moshe, still, and American Dreams.
Yep, still.
So, I mean, that's a busy guy.
Yep.
He's got a lot of stuff going on. And one thing in common with them is finding more income streams than just their music. We're going to find that is a common thing, I think, with people that sign big label deals. Because what's crazy is those label deals take a lot of the money. Like, it can be sometimes more than half.
Yeah.
So what's crazy as a fan is you see this artist who's just everywhere. You're just being clubbed to death over the head with Usher's face everywhere you look, you know? And you don't realize, like, yes, he's making money, but it's not as much as you think, for one. And two, what's nice about that is, you know, even though the label's getting a lot of the money from his music, he has his own face and image and name and stuff, so he can go out and get brand deals and things like that because he's now famous. So it's kind of a give and take, but...
Yep. This is why
I think people will be surprised. It's not pennies. He's not broke.
Oh,
but he's not making as much as probably you think.
They need these other income streams to really bring on as much money as they
people
like.
But Usher, clearly, you know, they're not going to be satisfied with one thing. Like they want to do more. They want to do and be and better themselves and
he
try
talked about
new things
as well. You know, when you reach the climax of one thing, you could either just relish in the fact that you did that, or you can go find a whole nother thing to attempt to climb the mountain for. And that's what he does. So he did that with music, producing, owning a business, like all kinds of things. And Usher has he's got his fingers and toes in everything. He's just one of those like all around entrepreneurs.
Renaissance man, we call it.
Yes. Yep.
You know who one of the 2 best examples of that are? Can you guess?
Musicians or in general?
These 2 happen to be musicians, but they do everything and they do it all well.
I was like, Troy Aikman's one, but that's a football player.
Okay.
He big into like he owns a bunch of businesses.
I'm not even talking about businesses. I'm just saying like
just like as far as Renaissance
everything.
Oh God.
I got 2 in mind. And I think when you hear me, you'll be like, oh yeah.
There's one of them that I'm just not grabbing the name for, and I think it's one of your 2.
I would say Jamie Foxx.
Okay, yeah, Jamie Foxx is killer.
Piano, singing, acting, stand up, impressions, business, like just the list is, and he's so good at all of them. And the other one I'd say is Justin Timberlake.
Oh yeah, Timberlake's good too.
Same list. Comedy. He's in SNL sketches and he kills. Like he's so funny, such a good actor. Like,
do you know Justin
dancing? Both of them dance. You know, it's crazy.
Justin Timberlake tried to sign Bieber, but was
cool.
outbid.
He's like, dude, your name, same name.
So
let's do
actually,
it.
that was an issue.
Really?
So Justin Timberlake tried to get Bieber, but was outbid by Scooter and Usher.
Yeah.
Scooter and Usher had this like joint business that they signed, that Bieber's first signed on to.
Yep.
But it was in competition with Justin Timberlake, but they thought there were going to be too many issues with double Justin.
Wow, people are dumb, huh?
Right?
It's like different last name. Like,
but like both of them, like, yeah, no, right. It's, anyways, Justin Timberlake's probably looking back like, God, could have made that kid even better.
Yeah. Well,
although I think he had a pretty good, I was like, I think Usher did just fine.
I think they're all doing all right.
Taking the young kid that has crazy vocals. But anyways, let's
back to it. Behind the scenes of the film life, Usher's cooking up an album that would shatter records.
Shatter them. And on March 23rd, 2004, Usher became the king of R&B with his 4th studio album, Confessions.
Of a teenage... No, wait, that's not it. That's different. Just Confessions.
But anyways, it entered the Billboard 200 at number 1, of course. And the lead single from the album, the song you probably know the most is... Yeah.
Bow wow, bow wow.
Bow wow, bow wow.
Yep. That's featured Lil Jon and Ludacris. We alluded to that earlier.
Yeah, that was a huge song.
Sat at the number one spot for how many weeks?
12.
12 weeks before his second single took its place. So he literally had to beat himself. Guy's playing a different game. Everyone else is it's like Taylor Swift of the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah, dude. There's so many parallels between him and Taylor Swift.
That's funny.
And the second single was Burn. And Burn was originally planned to be the lead single, but did so much better than expected.
That is pretty cool, you know.
Just held that back.
Because, when you think about it, it's hard to judge objectively because we've all heard it a trillion times. Yeah. But, it's an okay song. It's not, amazing, you know? Yeah, no. It certainly, blew up in a crazy way. But you listen to it without knowing any of that, which is impossible. But as a mental exercise, you're kind of like, yeah, it's cool. Yeah. It's catchy. I like the little catchy and horn sound.
All that. So the third single from the album was Confessions Part 2. And this song would also be number one on the charts. And
he's up to 5 or 6 number ones.
Yep.
Most people are lucky to get one. He's 5 or 6 deep in his third album.
Yeah, and this album is already 3. His first 3 singles already
boom, boom, boom.
Yep, all number ones. And
this, by the way, we were talking about the bell curve. He's at the top.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is the peak.
Doesn't get higher than this. Unfortunately, now it means it's going to start going down. Because you can't. These kind of things are just not sustainable. You can't do number ones for your whole life. You know?
This is an issue with a lot of musicians where they have one album that's so successful, and you constantly spend the rest of your career chasing the success that you had from one album. And that's another question Shannon Sharp brings up in that interview, flawless interview. And that's what gets on the conversation that you were talking about, where Usher's like, I've climbed the mountain, I've hit my peak at that, time to move on to a new thing that I know nothing about. And so instead of just chasing after the success that you've already found, he wants to chase success in something new.
Yeah, you did it. That's great.
You did it. Keep
because
going.
You have to understand that this success, it's only half to do with you. You think it's all to do with you, I made the song. It's only half. So much depends on how people respond to it, the times that it's released in,
the timing. Yeah,
some of these songs, if you released today, no chance. You know what I mean?
Definitely not a number one.
No chance. But so it's not, and it seems like he understands that, and he's like, I did my part. It worked. Wow, how blessed am I? Let's move on. It's not like I'm the shit. It's more like, whoa.
He's got a good head about it.
Yeah.
And so Confessions Part 2, like I said, would top the charts, and this song became.
It's pretty funny to me that there's a Confessions is the name of the album, and then the song is Confessions Part 2.
Before it is Confessions.
So they're just
there's Confessions, the song, and then Confessions Part 2 right after it. Only Confessions Part 2.
That's pretty funny.
Was released as a single. But Confessions Part 1 is good too. It's just not as catchy as Part 2. But anyways, the song caught a little controversial about it because it's literally about a guy singing about infidelity. So he's in love with his side chick type thing. Mm-hmm. And so people thought this was Usher, owning up to cheating in real life. And then the producer had to come forward and go, no, this song's about me.
Something interesting.
We wrote this one about my life.
People seem to think, and this is so wild to me, that every song you release is about your life. First of all, and I'm not talking about Usher, a lot of songs are not written by the artists. There's no way they're about the artist's life. But second of all, you listen to Iron Maiden and stuff, they're singing about dragons. And it's what? Come on, it's art.
Yeah.
You don't look at a painting of Picasso and be like, wow, what a great self-portrait.
Right.
You look at it, doesn't look anything like it. It's just art.
Yeah. Art is just kind of
it's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah. You can observing the world in a special way.
And responding.
And responding. So, and then shortly after the release of the album, an extended version was released. And on the extended version was the 4th single, My Boo, which features Alicia Keys, the song they did in the Super Bowl together.
Yep, great.
And this song would win a Grammy for Best R&B Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals. And it also hit number 1 on the charts.
Jeez.
So that's 4 on an album. And then the 5th and final single from the album was Caught Up, which only hit 8. What a massive failure.
Wow. Give up.
8 on the top 100. Yeah, I know. So, he should probably retire at that point.
Yep. You're done.
Done.
You're done, buddy.
You saw your last day in Hollywood. A top 10. That's it.
That's it? Wow. What a loser.
Anyways,
the album sold over 1 million copies in the first week.
Yeah, it went platinum in a week.
It's been certified 14 times platinum, making it our
second or third? I couldn't remember.
Taylor Swift had one.
Taylor had one. I thought there was another one that we went over, but I could be wrong.
I don't think any of the other artists we did would have something like that.
Yeah, I was like, the only one that would be minute
Gorillaz,
by minute.
Maybe?
The only one that would be.
I don't think that one.
But that one didn't. I think that one only.
Yeah. Was it Gorillaz?
Did Gorillaz have one?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Listeners will have to let us know on that.
So
we're starting to get to the point where we've done a lot of these.
Yeah, I guess that's our second Diamond album. But quick fact, that is the last black artist to have a Diamond album. And I believe before him...
Michael Jackson or something? Prince?
Yeah, Michael Jackson's Thriller was one, but I thought there was one in between Usher and Michael Jackson's Thriller. Like just one other. And so Usher has the most recent.
That's cool.
But there's not too many Diamond albums out there. So
and it almost went Diamond in its first year.
Yeah, I know. It almost, It
did $8 million in 2004. That's absolutely insane. And it won the Grammy for Best Contemporary R&B Album, of course. I mean, how are you going to not, like, shattering records? But we could go on about the total amount of awards for this album.
Yeah, I think you got some MTV Music Awards, some Billboard Awards, like all kinds of... You can just go through the list of awards for Confessions, and it goes on and on.
Yeah, for sure.
And the album was followed with the Truth Tour, which featured Kanye West and Christina Milian as the opening acts. And the tour was followed up with a DVD that sold 7 million copies.
Jesus.
So just more money on this Confessions. Like, dude's rolling in it now.
Confessions, I'm rich.
Well, actually, I say that. The label is happier than he is.
Yeah, I'm sure he's pretty happy too.
Yeah. He's pretty happy.
Yeah.
But the label's over here like, we did it, a Diamond album. So much fucking money.
Yep.
And so this time during his off season, I would call it, he always takes like a couple years, does some film, does some other stuff in between albums, doesn't do a whole bunch of touring, and his tours aren't super long. We did people like the Doobie Brothers that literally spend every second when they're not in the studio doing shows, playing 200 a week, a year or whatever.
Yeah.
Then Taylor does a lot of big tours, not a ton of tours, but just big tours. Usher's not like that. He'll go do like a couple day thing here, maybe go do a couple day thing there. Not a whole lot of big tours. And most of his tours, when I looked it up, are like 15 show, like 15 days. They're not huge.
Yeah, for sure.
Extravagant things. So I guess, but now that he's pretty accessible to go see, you can see him in Vegas whenever. It's because he, in the past, didn't seem to be the most accessible musician to go and see.
Right.
But anyways, during his off season, he worked on some other artist stuff. So he started featuring on some other people's things. So he did some collabs with Lil Jon again, some R. Kelly, some Mary J. Blige,
nice.
Returned to the extracurricular activities and was actually taken over as Billy Flynn on the Broadway revival of Chicago.
Very cool.
And upon hearing Usher join the cast, huge spike in ticket sales. Was going to be awesome, and then he got strep throat right before the performance. Was unable to go, and
was he only going to do the one performance, or was he?
I guess he was going to go forward, but something happened so that because of him getting strep throat, they had to like replace his character basically permanently.
That sucks. Sucks to be the replacement guy.
Broadway things. Yeah, because the place lost $400,000 in refunded tickets from people basically just coming to see Usher.
It's an expensive strep throat,
and Usher would be good for Broadway. Great singer and dancer, and can do both. And
actor.
That's like,
that's all you need.
He can do it all. So I think he actually would have killed it, but I'm not sure how good Broadway money is. I feel like at Usher level, that's just kind of more for fun project.
Right.
But anyways, around this time, like you were saying, he actually just helped discover Justin Bieber with Scooter Braun. They had a little venture called RBMG Records, and that's what Justin's first signing was under.
And we've seen Scooter Braun's name before in the Taylor Swift lawsuit.
Yeah, dude, so many parallels to the Taylor Swift episode. I don't even see those artists like, I say nothing alike because they're in completely different genres, but the way that they're icons at the top of the music. Yeah, I guess the word pop, like they're both at the top.
Yep. So before he gets back in the studio to start recording his fifth album, he fires his mom as his manager and hired Benny Medina.
Yep.
And on top of that, right before the release of his fifth album, his father, who had never really been around, died.
Yeah, so here's just all kinds of
different place.
Parent stuff.
Yeah.
But his fifth album was released May 27th, 2008, called Here I Stand. And it entered the charts at number 1 as
you would expect, yeah.
He's finally in that zone where when you become a big enough artist, whenever you release anything, it just comes in at number 1. Mm-hmm. We've talked about that in the past. This kind of happens for a little while with him. And the lead single from this album was Lovin' This Club, which is a big song. Featured Young Jeezy, and the song was able to top the charts, giving him a 8th number 1, I believe.
Jeez.
quite a few. He wasn't in our top 10 when we did it, right? But I think he was right outside of it.
He's got to be right outside of it.
I think he has like 9 or 10 of them, so he's got to be just out. He's probably top 15, not top 10.
That's crazy.
But anyways, the second single was "Love in This Club Part 2," which featured Lil Wayne and Beyonce.
Just so much love in this club,
dude.
I got to write 2 songs about it.
The third one, "Love Oozing Out This Club." And then at the very end, "Love in This Club Part 3."
Club full of love.
Club full of love. Anyways, that's I can't wait to do I want to do a Lil Wayne episode in the future.
Went into the bathroom of the club. Oh shit, more love. Part 3.
Part 3. But anyways, the song only hit 18 this time, and the third single from the album was "Moving
Massive
Mountains."
Failure.
Right. This song hit 67 on the charts. And then the fourth single released, "What's Your Name," featuring will.i.am. And this song would fail to chart.
Do
you remember that song?
Maybe.
What's your name? Let Me Buy You a Drink.
Yeah.
That's that song.
That's that one?
I'm pretty sure.
Nice. I thought that was "Let Me Buy You a Drink."
Me too.
I'ma buy you a drink. Right? Is that not what that one?
What's your name?
Really? Wow. Okay.
Let me talk to you.
I know that more than all the other ones that did chart, if that's the one.
I'm pretty sure that's what... All right. I need you to make sure I'm not sounding like an ass right now, but I'm pretty sure that's that song. And that's what that killed me, because I was like, dude, that's a famous song.
Let's find out. We're listening here. Yeah. No, I think it's a different one.
Yeah, go to the chorus.
That's the chorus there, right?
So it is "Buy You a Drink" then? Damn, that's weird that he's using the same lyrics. That is a different song.
Is that Usher?
Oh, it's T-Pain. That's right. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't like that they...
T-Pain's awesome, by the way.
I do like T-Pain. I don't think T-Pain and Usher have done anything together.
Wow.
They should have.
Maybe.
Makes sense.
So the fifth and final single was "Trading Places," which hit number 45. So back up a little bit. And this album was inspired at the time by Usher's wife and son. So he followed up the album with a 15-date tour called "One Night Stand." His wife loved that. That was only sold to females.
Yep.
We talked about that a little bit before.
Yeah. And
how you feel about that?
Such an Usher thing. Like I was telling you, there's always a warning at the beginning of like any Usher video, Usher concert, like an actual true warning label that Usher will steal your girl. He's like the original. He's the original Mr. Steal Your Girl. Yeah, that's who Usher is.
Yeah, so. That's kind of cool. It seems. I mean, it's obviously just like a PR stunt.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just a play into like his character on stage in a way, but like, he's not actually just gonna like single out like, yeah, I'm fucking that dude's wife tonight. Yeah, I don't think I don't think Usher's like doing that. But.
I don't think his wife would like it.
Probably not. He literally says that to his wife. Yeah, I'm gonna fuck that dude's wife tonight.
Go get him, baby. So over the next couple years, Usher had some notable performances, including performing at Obama's inaugural celebration. He also performed at the memorial of Michael Jackson in 2009.
Oh, that was so good. I watched that live.
Really?
It was immaculate. This was around the time I really liked Michael Jackson. I was learning to dance like Michael Jackson, perfecting my moonwalk.
Yep.
And so when I saw Usher come up and literally kill it spot on Michael Jackson dancing, very good moonwalk, everything, I was like, oh my gosh,
awesome.
This dude's awesome.
Yeah. And that was a really emotional performance.
Yeah. That was big time. I remembered everybody was pretty ripped up. I think Jamie Foxx was there. I think he sang a song too. There was all kinds of people there doing all kinds of tributes, and it was sad and also a cool show to watch. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So now we're at Usher's sixth album. He releases it a year later, March 26, 2010, Raymond v. Raymond. I remember this one.
Do you?
I remember this one coming out. Yeah, like the marketing around it. So.
Oh, yeah.
The album would enter the Billboard 200 at number 1, so he's still kind of on top of the world. The album came out only months after Usher's divorce with his first wife, Tamika Foster. Is that right? His first wife was Chili, right? Is that her real name?
I believe that's her, real name. I think when I put Tamika Foster, it had...
Wait, what am I thinking of? Maybe they just... they didn't actually... Okay, he was with Chili. They didn't actually get married.
Oh, they just dated.
So Tamika Foster was his first wife.
Tamika Foster was his first wife, and he had a kid with her.
Okay, cool.
But
then he has another wife later after that. They separated, and then now he's with someone else that he's still with, I guess.
Yep, but not married. Okay.
Gotcha. He learned his lesson.
Yeah. So the album,
And and the lead single is called Papers.
yep, the lead single is called Papers, which
Guess what that one's about?
kind of killed. Yeah, it was the whole song about divorce.
She took all my money.
It's like, now I'm signing these papers.
She took all my cars.
But the Papers hit 31 on the Billboard Hot 100, and the following single was "Hey Daddy, Daddy's Home." I knew you wouldn't be able to keep a straight face at that one.
Wait.
It's "Hey Daddy," and then
saying,
and the parentheses.
So you're your daddy's
home.
daddy?
You're
saying, "Hey Daddy, Daddy's home."
There's
Are
two
you your
daddies
daddy's daddy?
There's two daddies in the house, Dallas. Deal with it.
It's a song about gay love and pride.
Get over it.
Both daddies are home.
Double daddies.
I just imagine walking into your dad being like, "Hey Daddy, Daddy's home." To your own dad. He's like, "What is wrong with you? Get out."
What is happening? Anyways, this song would hit number 24 on the charts.
Due to the confusing nature of it.
Yeah. The third single, Little Freak, with Nicki Minaj.
Perfect.
Song peaked at number 40 on the charts, and the single was released. And the next single that was released was an international single, and that was OMG. Which was written by will.i.am.
Yep.
And also featuring will.i.am.
Yep.
And this song would earn Usher his 9th number one single in the US. And it isn't very clear when this last single came out, but There Goes My Baby is listed as the 5th single for the album.
Is that There Goes My Baby? That one? I love that song if that's the one.
Maybe?
I think that's the one.
We got to confirm.
Oh, sure
okay. Yeah, it's just like the whole chorus just came flooding into my head.
I'm pretty sure this is. Oh yeah. I love this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's got such a cool chord progression.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's that part. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's definitely my favorite.
There goes my
yeah, that's absolutely my favorite Usher song for sure. And the Justin Bieber single, "Somebody to Love," the remix.
Yep. And he also released a follow-up extended play for the album called Verses.
Yep.
And it kind of was treated like an individual album, but really it's just like an extended version of this. But it did come out with, I believe, 7 new songs on it, and and it came out with some singles accompanied with it. And this album, the Verses, actually hit the Billboard 200 like as its own thing and hit number 4.
Nice.
I don't know if you count that, because when you go through his discography, it's not listed as an album. It's just like
an EP.
It's more of a bonus.
Yeah, for sure.
Version to that. So that's why I wasn't sure if that counted towards the Billboard 200, because I think he gets about 4 number ones in a row if you don't count that.
Yep.
But if you count it, it kind of interrupts all the number ones. But anyways.
And the first single was DJ Got Us Falling in Love.
Yep.
Which that's a big one. I remember. I was in high school when all these came out, so that's when I know they're, all my friends are like, all the girls in school are like singing it and stuff.
Yep. And so
that peaked at number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Featured Pitbull.
Yep.
And the next single was Hot Toddy.
Had Jay-Z.
Yep. Hit number 21.
And then the album was followed by the OMG tour, which ran from November 2010 to June 2011, which I think is his longest tour ever.
Nice.
And during this time, this is when he made his first Super Bowl appearance, when the Black Eyed Peas Super Bowl in February 2011, and will.i.am pulled Usher up to perform the song OMG at the end. I don't know if it was the last. I think it might have been the last song performed. I think it was like the very end. Usher comes up and does it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because remember, they opened up with
I don't remember.
Oh God, the party
was it
song, their party song?
I got a feeling.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I got a feeling. So they opened up with that, which is like great. But I'm pretty sure it closed with OMG.
Nice.
So later that year, Sony Records, which was a parent company to Usher's current label, and isn't it crazy how just many parent labels
they're always buying and
over each
acquiring
other?
and stuff.
Yeah, like
for sure.
Like we've already talked about it going up to a parent company. Now we're going up to another parent company. But anyways, Sony Records decided to consolidate some labels that Usher had been on, and moving forward, everything Usher did was going to be now listed as RCA Records.
Yeah, that's huge record company. So
oh no, for sure. It's just it gets so confusing with like parent company, record labels, like all this. It's so all over the place.
100%.
So in November of 2011, Usher began working on a new album, and he wanted to explore some changes from his normal sound.
Mm-hmm.
And he claims this album was his most artistic and experimental of all of his albums, like the furthest away from R&B. And kind of just wanted to list as like I said, trying something new, You did Confessions. You made the most successful R&B album of all time.
Yeah.
Time to try something new. Time
Yeah.
to try something new. And so this one, he just really wanted to grow and evolve as a musician, show that he could do things out of the norm. And so on June 8th, 2012, Looking for Myself was released.
Again with the number 4, like Prince.
Yep. And then this album entered the charts at number 1 again.
Wow. 4th in a row, entering number 1. Wow.
And
crushing it.
The lead single from the album was Climax, which would end up peaking at number 17 on the Billboard 100.
Wonder what that one's about.
Yeah, right. Then the follow-up single, Scream.
Wonder what that one's about.
Say would break the top 10, hit number 9 on the charts. And the third single was Let Me See, which featured rapper Rick Ross. That song was only able to hit number 46. And the fourth was Numb.
I liked that one.
Hit 69 on the charts.
Oh, he was stoked about that.
And then fifth and final single, Dive, which failed the chart.
Yep.
Unfortunate.
The album didn't really go crazy in sales like most of his other albums. So.
But this was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I think this is my second.
I think
this is my second favorite. Confessions, of course, is number 1 just because of the big songs. But this album, I really enjoyed. He took a lot of... So in this...
It was really poppy.
Yeah, it's very poppy. He
Less
had a lot
R&B.
more electronic. He was very inspired, he said, by Empire of the Suns. I'm familiar with that band. I remember... I need to show you one of their songs. You'll immediately be like, oh. And he has a couple songs that sound like it, including some EDM, some dubstep influence. He really just took from like what was going on in music around and kind of applied it to that. So, But I really liked that album. It was really good.
So following that, in 2013, he subbed for CeeLo Green on The Voice. He would actually get second place in the competition and would redeem himself by winning 2 years later when he made a return to The Voice.
Yeah,
Very cool.
He doesn't return as a head coach, I believe.
Just kind of...
but he's like a consultant for one of the teams, and then that team wins.
Oh, nice.
So that was cool. But
so later that year, Usher's supposed to have an album released called You Are, his initials. That's kind of cool. He released a few singles in support of the album. We'll get to those, but the album continually got delayed. So eventually he changed the title of the album name to Flawed, but still couldn't set a release date.
And
that's nuts.
I know, right? And so he lands a movie role during this time in Sugar Ray Leonard, a famous boxer, in the movie Hands of Stone.
That's a big role.
And he did a single for the movie called Champions. And it was supposed to appear on the album that keeps getting delayed as well. And Usher, he released a few more singles from the album during this delay process. And then after tons and tons of delays, he gets this new track or new title, Hard to Love.
Yep.
Which I don't even know, or it released September 16th, 2016. And
debuted at number 5.
This was quite a few years of delaying too.
Yeah.
So
I wonder why though.
I think there was some label issues again. I think it had something to do with the with the label swap, which always is the thing.
So debuted at number 5 on the Billboard 200, which broke his streak.
Yep.
If you don't count the little half one. So let's talk about those singles we skipped over. So the lead single was No Limit, which featured Young Thug. The single hit 32 on the Hot 100. This following single was Crash. It's actually dropped a day after No Limit. That's interesting because, as you would expect, dropping it that way, it didn't chart.
Yeah, it was like so
and neither
weird.
were the next two singles. You're creating your own competition at that point. The next two singles didn't chart either. Missing You and Rivals, which features Future.
Yep.
Say that 5 times fast.
Features, future, features, future, features, future, features, future,
Now
features,
say,
future.
Now say Irish wristwatch.
That one's so hard. Irish wristwatch.
Irish wristwatch.
Yeah, it's hard to say fast, but
yeah. You got to really focus on it, like cross your eyes and just crunch up your nose.
yeah.
So also, when we were looking at the sales of this album, we talked about how album sales don't really exist in the same way they used to. So while there's a conversion method,
You should pull this up real quick. Yeah, the
album equivalent unit.
Yeah, for anybody listening, you should give it a look. Basically, this measurement system was created to convert the old school album sales, what we would call what makes albums go gold and platinum,
right?
By album sales. It now converts downloads and listens on streaming sites. It basically converts the amount of listens to what the equivalent album sales would have been.
Nice.
So now they use this to show if an album is going platinum or whatever.
That makes sense.
Kind of this, and we were just talking about like how do we even determine this? This is the method.
And there's a formula. So
Yes,
1,250 premium audio streams, 3,750 ad-supported streams, or 3,750 video streams are equal to one album unit.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's cool that there's an actual mathematical chart to it that we can reference going forward since album sales are not even near what they used to be.
Right. It's just a different industry. Things change.
Exactly.
So this is their answer to that.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool when I discovered that. I was like that kind of is like that missing puzzle piece from our conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay. Now that makes sense on how they track that stuff.
Perfect. So a couple years later, October of 2018 now, Usher released a collaborative album, titled A. The collaborators were Future and Gunna.
Yup. And then the entire album was produced by Zaytoven.
Yep.
And this album pays homage to Atlanta. All of those guys are from Atlanta.
Okay.
And so the album entered the Billboard 200 at 31. Didn't have any singles or anything that charted, but the album's good.
Yeah, just kind of more of a fun project.
It's fun project. It's just kind of like if Usher was way more into like the hip hop and rap side of things than the R&B hip hop side of things.
It's just one of those like hidden gems.
Exactly. So it's got like little heavier beats, a little more, a little more hardcore. Rappy. Yeah, exactly. And I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah. And then a month later, Usher played a multi-date show in Australia, New Zealand. So a little down under tour.
Yeah.
And he signed a new management contract after this with Luke Bitzman and 100 Management, and announced that he plans to release an album in 2019. And so,
as of us recording, that album he spoke about doesn't really release until 3 days ago.
Yeah.
In 2024. And that's just how...
almost certainly delayed for COVID and all that stuff.
Yeah, COVID was a part of it.
But still, 5-year delay is insane.
Yeah, I know. But he goes through there's another label issue, which is the reason that, all of his progress from the album that was supposed to come out just stopped when you move companies. So, but anyways,
he's a busy guy.
Yep. And so December of that year, he played a huge show in South Africa in honor of Nelson Mandela.
I remember that.
And then Usher returned to film a cameo in the crime film Hustlers. And he also was featured on the film's soundtrack with the song Love in This Club.
Love a dub dub.
Exactly.
Love in This Club.
And in early 2019, Usher teased the fans with an Instagram picture of him in the studio next to a whiteboard that said Confessions 2 with some blurred track listings underneath. Okay. That never became a thing.
Sneaky. Yeah, that's funny.
That's like Taylor Swift does that kind of stuff, but more hidden. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which there was supposed to be a Taylor Swift thing when she was on her award show. She did some weird stuff with her fingers, and people thought she was going to announce a new album on the Lunar New Year a couple of days ago. There was like this whole video.
I think people were looking way too much into this.
Crazy.
She probably had like a hand cramp, and she's reading this article like, what?
I mean, she did she goes like this, and then she like some specific numbers. And everybody goes to try and figure out what it is. They thought it was going to be the Lunar New Year. Nothing came out, so they were all wrong. It was great.
Well, of course.
Yeah. But anyways.
So later that year in June, Usher headlined the Smokin' Grooves Festival in Erykah Badu. I hope I said that right.
With Erykah Badu.
With Erykah Badu. Wow.
Spelling it that way.
Beefed that so hard.
You should have your sister change it to that.
Yeah, my sister's name's Erica. It's not spelled like that. I'm telling you.
She's does she have a K in hers or
C.
Is it C? Just C. Okay.
Wow. I read that as in, and then I thought that was a country.
Nope. That's
so my apologies to Miss Badu. A few months later, Usher would make that return to The Voice that we mentioned earlier.
Yep.
And he joined John Legend's team as a battle advisor.
What a sick team.
Dude, what a sick title. Battle advisor. Dude, you were in battle? It was on The Voice. Relax. Yeah. I've never not lived in a mansion. I've never had dirt on my feet.
Yeah.
Usher spent the rest of 2019 doing some collabs with some artists like DJ Black Coffee.
Summer Walker.
These DJ names are getting bad, dude. Including a standalone single he released featuring LMA. These DJ names are just food and drink now.
Yep.
DJ Hot Dog.
DJ.
DA double WGGG. Hot Dog.
He's a dog on the mic. Anyways, Usher performed at the 2020 Grammys doing a special tribute to Prince.
Nice.
And I didn't know about this one because I had seen the Michael Jackson one live, and it was so good memory I have. And then I did not know about this one. Had to immediately go watch it. So good. Absolutely kills it.
That's awesome.
He does I think he does When Doves Cry, and then he does Kiss.
Nice. Yeah, we play Kiss at every show.
Yeah. And the dancing he does like just the way he's able to mimic like Michael Jackson's dancing,
the mannerisms and stuff.
The mannerisms, just their stage presence for Prince. Dude, it's so good. You can tell he put in so much work. It literally looked like Prince up there, like with all the moves and stuff. I love that performance. It was one of my favorites of his. So true treat. Definitely go look it up. I'm not sure who's gonna do the tribute to Usher though. Like we had Michael Jackson and Prince,
some young kid out there right now.
Usher to do it, and it's like the kid that's gonna do the Usher tribute. We don't even know. We don't know what they look like.
R&B's in a weird limbo right now. It doesn't exist. Like its heyday is kind of gone. The late 90s, early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
So
it's like,
but it's some kid. It's some kid out there right now. Maybe he's 8, singing in his church choir.
Yeah,
and like he's coming. He's on his way.
I don't know if R&B will
plot
come
twist.
back.
It's me.
It's you. I'm not sure if R&B will make a return. He doesn't think it will either. At least not in the iteration it used to be in.
It'll kind of blend with pop. I think everything's kind of blending with pop.
It'll have to evolve. And he still talks about how R&B is, the basis for so much in hip hop.
Yeah.
They get so much from that. And it's true. Like, big time. So I'm not sure if it'll ever exist. His new album, though, like, I guess he did a great job of... It's not so much R&B. It's definitely feels way more modern, like poppy stuff. But it's for sure. But it's still good. But anyways,
cool.
Enough of my R&B tangent. We'll go to April of 2020, which is a couple months later after the Prince.
Yeah.
And he was the executive producer and judge of a dance competition series called The Sauce.
The Sauce.
The Sauce. And soon after, he released a single with former collaborators Lil Jon and Ludacris called Sex Beat. And he followed this up with another single in June called I Cry.
And he followed that with another single called I'm Sorry for Releasing a Song Called Sex Beat. That one's currently diamond.
Yeah. And as we get into more recent times, Usher kind of pulled an Elvis and started back in September of 2020. He signed his first deal with with Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas.
Just doing residencies. And
he's been doing them not always at Caesar's. So he did it Caesar's to start. I think he started with like 12 shows or something. And then he moved to two other places over 2021 and 2022. And then 2022, he signed another big contract with Caesar's Palace for like 23 shows a year or something like that. So if you want to see Usher, he's always performing out in Las Vegas. His shows apparently are pretty exciting as far as you saw with the rollerblading. That's like a regular part of his show.
Doing some cool stuff.
Like all of that kind of thing. Yeah. So it's like it's more than just Usher going up doing the songs, it's built into a Las Vegas performance. Yeah. So there's going to be more than just Usher singing. So apparently it's pretty good from what I've heard.
Yeah. And he dropped another single called Bad Habits in late 2020.
Yep.
And all these singles were intended to be a part of his new album till March of 2022. When Usher actually parted ways from RCA Records.
Yes, and
that's a big change.
That's why the album got delayed so much, because I think most people can put it together, but all these singles that he released that were intended to go on a new album, when you leave the record label, those are not yours anymore.
They'll put new stuff out, yeah.
Yeah, those are there. So it's kind of like he planned on this new album. When he left the record label, that's like, bam,
starting
fresh
from scratch.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're starting from scratch again. Fresh start. So that's why the album took so long to come out.
Yeah. So after this, he signed a joint venture with Larry Jackson's Gamma Music Company, too long of a name. Usher and longtime partner L.A. Reid formed Mega in partnership with Gamma.
Yep.
So it was under this new venture that Usher's most recent album would be released under, which just came out.
Yep. And in June of 2022, Usher performed a Tiny Desk concert for NPR Music. Yep. I like to mention those, like I said.
Those are great.
I'm big fans of those. It was great. He had a nice intimate little group, and his singing is just, God, he kills it. But he also is there's a meme from that, actually.
Really?
Usher says, like, watch this, and he does like this kind of thing.
Yeah,
I guess it's a quick meme, and then he laughs about it because he knew it was silly.
That's funny.
Yeah, so there's like a meme from that clip. But anyways, finally, March 2023, he released his first single in over 2 years under the new label, and this song was called Glue. And it Glue, but I think it's capital GLU. So it's all capitals. I don't know if it stands for anything.
Struggled with spelling his entire career.
I don't know if it actually stands for anything, but I know it's Glue as far as the word. Yeah. But it was a standalone, didn't chart.
And
still probably felt good to put something out.
Get something out, yeah.
And so
let's jump. Let's jump to that new album that just dropped February 9th, 2024, as we record this on February 12th, 2024.
So I've given it about one listen, and the two, I say the singles, Good is the only listed single so far, because obviously we'll see what else is going to,
on the Billboard 100.
And the other one, Ruin, which is not a single, but it probably will be. That's a good song too. And I like both those, but
we're saying it's kind of, we're recording so recently after it came out, there's not a lot of numbers and data and stuff.
Oh yeah, there's nothing on this.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's only one single on it, and that's Good so far. But in the future, when we go back and look at this album, it's going to have like 3 or 4 singles that have come out over the next year or two, and then we'll see what the numbers are. So I was thinking going forward, I was discussing this. I guess we can have a live business meeting real quick.
All right, let's do it.
I was thinking going forward,
I want more money.
any of the artists that we do our episodes on, if they release anything new going forward, I think we should bring it up on our in-between episodes. Yep. Just to talk about the new.
That list is going to get bigger and bigger.
Oh yeah, it's going to. Oh yeah, that's gonna fill up. But anyways, I think that catches us up to the Super Bowl performance, which we talked about.
Yeah, but I think couldn't ask for a better way to promote the album for sure.
I think it's time to hit some ratings.
Let's do some ratings. All right. So as you guys know, you've been listening for a while now. We break our ratings down into 5 categories. Those categories are creativity, replayability, cultural impact, emotional connection, and the nostalgia factor. Creativity. What you got?
For creativity, I'm gonna have to. This is probably gonna be one of his weaker points.
I would agree. I'm gonna jump in there.
I'm like a 2 or a 3
because he jump in there with a 2.
For me, he didn't revolutionize anything. He was the best at doing R&B, but he didn't do anything new.
Well, from album to album, like there's growth, but it's like it's almost kind of like AC/DC in the way that like they're all very similar.
Like his most creativity was that album, Looking for Myself.
Right.
That was like the most creative kind of out of his pocket. So I'm gonna hit a 2 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Replayability.
This one's hard for me, but I'm also going to put a 2, and I'm going
to be right there with you at a 2.
It's going to sound harsh, and I can definitely listen to Usher and like some songs. But when we talk about replayability, this is me sitting in my car. I'm like I want to go play this song, and then I want to hear it more than once. Right. I want to hear it multiple times because it's so good.
Right.
That kind of thing. There's probably only a couple of Usher songs that I could just sit there and listen to over and over. And I'm probably not ever going to specifically seek it out. But if Usher's on, I'm not going to be like, change that shit. I'm going to be like, all right, I like Usher.
All right. Well, we're on cultural impact. I'm going to give him a 4 because if you're playing the Super Bowl, you've impacted culture in some way.
I'm at a 4 as well.
All right. Same rating so far.
Huge cultural impact.
Emotional connection.
So these two, these were the
and
two
nostalgia factor.
These were the two that they're almost linked together.
Yeah.
And these two I was thinking about while driving up here to record. And I'm actually going to have
emotional connection will be like how much you currently feel, and nostalgia is kind of like, I remember this, you know, from my childhood. It was one of the big songs And
that's where I put together a 2 out of 5 for the emotional, but a 4 out of 5 for nostalgia. Because I definitely feel the nostalgia with Usher. Just growing up with him, like running the radio and just constantly hearing like, and then even going back and going, oh, I didn't know that was an Usher song. I didn't know that was an Usher song. So the nostalgia was pretty high for me during this episode.
So Ashton comes in with a 2, a 2, a 4, a 2, and a 4, bringing you to a nice even, right about half, 2.8. How do you feel about that?
That's probably where he would belong. And I always feel really bad. I feel like people are looking at this and they're kind of thinking the 5-star system, like you would see on like
our personal.
And it's not like. This is not like a restaurant review on like Yelp where you're like 2.8. Oh God, I can't listen to them. Like, no, this is just
make your own ratings. Send us your ratings.
Yeah, send us your ratings. I still want you guys to go and listen. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. Like the research, the listening to his music. It was
different for us too, which is nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a good change up from the.
So I came in. I had a 2, a 2, a 4, a 2, and I did 2 for nostalgia factor as well. So emotional connection and nostalgia factor, both 2 for me. That brings me just slightly under you to a 2.4. So almost a perfect half right there.
Okay.
For Usher.
That's not a bad score. For me, a bad score for a band is going to be less than 2. I'm saying 2 and up is, for me, is like, I'll listen to them happily.
There's a lot of factors.
Yeah, I'll listen to them happily. If you're getting below 2, that's probably when we're talking about a band that I don't like very much. Or something that just didn't click with me.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'm not against... I mean, like we said, we're here to take unbiased dives I'm listening to stuff that I would normally not listen to or go into the depths.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And so you can't expect to love everything, but I also do think that doing the research and understanding some of this has helped some of these scores be higher than you would normally expect. So.
Yep.
But anyways.
Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, Melomaniax, to our Usher episode. Wanted to remind you guys, we do have a Patreon. We have one $5 per month tier that's going to give you access to the Discord, as well as a shout out any of our episodes and the ability to vote on future episode topics.
Yep. So, and then don't forget, like, subscribe, YouTube, Instagram. We're on Instagram and TikTok. And most importantly, leave us those 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts.
Yes, sir.
They help us grow. But we do appreciate 5-star reviews on any platform.
Yep.
And
that'll do it for us.
That'll do it.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.